Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to War on the Sea, a new-ish game. I think it's been out for like 3 months now almost, so I don't know how much longer I can continue to call it new, but it is newer. A newer game out by Killerfish Games, the developers of Cold Waters and Atlantic Fleet. We are returning to our Allied Let's Play series in this game. It is September 27th of 1942, so the campaign's been going for almost a month and a half now, and it's going bad but good. And what I mean by that is we've wiped out a huge portion of the Japanese fleet, including the battleship Yamato. In our last episode, I think we also got a Congo-class battleship and some destroyers. We wiped out quite a few enemy tankers and whatnot and cargo ships. Actually, the Congo was a little while ago, but still, we knocked out the Hiei and we knocked out the Yamato, and the Japanese fleet is just reeling. They've lost 125 ships for almost 1 million tons. They're at 890,000 tons of shipping. Compared that with our own losses, which are not insubstantial, of 158,000 tons. Most of those have been merchants, however. Quite a few destroyers and some submarines, but the vast majority of that tonnage is merchant shipping. I think we lost one heavy cruiser of the Portland class. But overall, this campaign is, the Japanese fleet, it's basically turned into Leyte Gulf plus the historical Guadalcanal campaign in terms of what they've lost. So, it's been a bit of a mess for the Japanese, but the way the game works is the Japanese are just going to keep on sending more and more ships. So we've got to be ready for that. I think we are. It is, as I said, September 27th. It is 5 in the morning, and so I've got the Death Star up here, which is a 2-battleship task force at the Washington and the North Carolina, both hanging out in the slot to block any troop transports or supply convoys into Guadalcanal, which has been bombarded into dust. There are no port facilities, no air facilities at either at Guadalcanal, Florida Islands, or Melilla. All 3 objectives which we must take to win this game. I don't have the troops to take it yet, but I'm hoping that I can block any additional reinforcements to keep them weak and allow us to take it relatively easily. Meanwhile, at Milne Bay, an extended battle is being fought against Japanese troops here. They've got probably 5,000 to 6,000 troops ashore. We've got about 10,000, and we're trying to whittle them down, although we're a little low on supply. You want a 1-to-1 ratio of supply to troops, so we need to raise some additional supply there to get those troops to fight at max capacity. Meanwhile, the Japanese have also landed on the Santa Cruz Islands. They have about 5,000 or 6,000 troops there as well. We are outnumbered, but we're fighting well enough. We've pushed about 3,000 reinforcements into Santa Cruz in the last week or so, and so we are beginning to mount our defense there in a more active manner. We're a little low on supplies there also. The one place things have gone poorly is Port Moresby, where the Japanese have taken that from us, and they did acquire a level 2 port and a level 1 airfield. But my plan for that is largely just to cut them off from reserves or reinforcements, which might come that way. So, long-winded way of saying I've got a bunch of scout planes that are out, and if we do detect enemy transports that might be on the way to Port Moresby, to give them the necessary engineering and fuel and whatnot to build the base up, we'll hopefully interdict them and prevent them from building anything up. And eventually we'll get around to bombarding Moresby so that its own facilities get reduced. So that's the situation right now. It's turning into a little bit of a grind. We do have the Death Star that we mentioned up here. We've got the Task Force 8, which consists of the USS Hornet, which is our last active fleet carrier. The Enterprise is still around in theory, but she's been under repair for a while. And then we've got a heavy cruiser task force here, which just ran some reinforcements into the Santa Cruz Islands, and we've got a bunch of task forces bringing cargo and supplies all over the map. That's what's going on. One other key update is Task Force 7 is on its way to Rennell Island. Task Force 7 consists of several destroyers escorting 1 critical merchant ship that is a Type C3 with 100 engineering. You only get 100 engineering reserves every week, so it's a very slow build-up. But once we get these guys to Rennell, as long as they're not sunk, we'll have 300 engineering, and so we'll be able to upgrade the port there from a level 2 to a level 3 port, which will allow us to rearm task forces out of Rennell. We can't form task forces at Rennell, but we can rearm task forces at a level 3 port, which will greatly reduce our transit times for these carriers and battleships that are trying to keep Guadalcanal closed. And that's the situation right now. The cruiser task force over here may return west to Port Moresby, but I'm thinking about pulling another 250 or so troops out of New Hebrides and putting them into Rennell to try and get those numbers up over 4,000. Meanwhile, I've already issued orders to like 20 scout planes. So we're about to send a whole bunch of scout planes out to scan the area at the start of September 1942 to make sure that we don't miss any Japanese task forces. Yeah, 2 battleships. Yeah, we've got enough points for more. We've got a carrier task force and a battleship task force with 2 battleships. So, plus we've also got a heavy cruiser task force over here with 2 heavy cruisers, 3 good light cruisers. I mean, we've got a wealth of points right now. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so you can see, oh shoot, I didn't turn off there you go. You can see all of those float planes that we set up. So you can see a whole bunch of float planes going out to see what might be out there. Not picking up a whole lot at the moment. I'm curious to see if we pick out anything up near Bougainville. So far, not a lot of indications of any enemy shipping. There's a scout plane encounter way up here to the north. So let's go ahead and ignore that. All right, so we've got some enemy destroyers in the Solomon Sea, an enemy destroyer task force up here as well with a light cruiser, a float plane down here in the south, which might be trying to find our own shipping. And 2 destroyers coming down the slot. So let's do this. The Death Star did take a little bit of damage from enemy dive bombers. I think one of our secondary batteries on the Washington was damaged. Coming out of probably Shortland, which I think is the only airfield up that way. I'm kind of tempted to go ahead and bombard Shortland. Although it looks like Buka also has a level 2 airfield. Rabal's a level 5, but we're, I think, at the extreme end of range of their aircraft there. It looks like Borpop has a level 3, Hoskins a 4, and Gloucester a level 4. Let's go ahead and move the Death Star just a little bit northwest to be a little bit out ahead of the enemy. And we'll go ahead and see. I mean, I'm guessing if the, yeah, okay, that's what I was, oh boy. 1 battleship, 2 destroyers here, 2 destroyers here. Well, there you go, boys. We'll move the Death Star out that way. Let's move Task Force 8 north a little bit, up toward Guadalcanal. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and pause. I think we're going to go for a battleship engagement here, boys. We could be the intelligent commander and send in the dive bombers, and we may still do that yet. But I like the idea of 2 U.S. battleships duking it out here. So let's send some Wildcats forward here to get the scouting on. All of our float planes return to the wrong target. Enemy recon planes out this way. Prestige trumps intelligence lake. There's Prestige has a quality all of its own. I don't know. All right, also, let's do this. Let's actually pause here for a second. I believe float planes actually give you a pretty big spotting bonus in combat. At least I heard rumors that they do in terms of the game, that is, not real life, obviously, because they certainly did in real life. So let's send some Wildcats up here to fly cap over the group so they can wipe out. Oh, crap. I didn't mean to do that. But let's actually take a look and see if we've got a visual on these guys, what type of ship they might be. All right. Well, this is just the 2 destroyer task force. So let's head these guys south because I think that's where the battleships are. We'll see if we pick him up. We may not pick him up here. But I'm hoping we can pick up a battleship task force heading down the slot. Lake, I think that's true mostly in World War II, because by the time World War II happened, there wasn't a whole lot of long-range firing with aircraft spotting. It was more aircraft bombing the shipping, but it was the intent to spot. They definitely spotted, I think, for... Didn't they spot for, like, coastal guns? Like bombardments of the shore? I think the Japanese had some float planes up during Guadalcanal, like at night. So I don't know how effective they were, but I think they helped spot for the shelling of the airfields. Yeah, right. I didn't find them. So these fighters are heading up to engage the enemy fighters or enemy float planes over my task force. Meanwhile, my other group is going to continue with their long-range eyes on the enemy battleship task force. My own battleship task force is going to be given the orders full speed ahead. We'll go ahead and get our Dauntlesses up on ready 5. We'll get the Dauntlesses up here. They're heading north. All right, let's engage the enemy float plane with our fighters to get rid of that before any surface engagement occurs. Oh, wait. It is a Congo class. Oh, boy. Wait, can she see me? What's the range? They're turning their guns. Well, I guess she can probably see me from it because they've got the float plane there, right? 57,000 yards? I think not, boys. I think not. The Wisconsin and the Missouri used UAVs to spot in Desert Storm. Wait, I didn't even realize they had UAVs in Desert Storm, but I think I vaguely remember seeing footage of them catching the UAVs like after they returned. I'm curious if the Congo can even shoot at this range at us. Max elevation, boys. Well, she's turning. Look at those. What kind of angles on those? That is, oh my God, nearly vertical. All right. Stupid enemy float plane flying right above us. There they go. All right, let's get out of here. Down, down, down she goes. Oh, they're turning away. Wait, is the AI smart enough to know you're massively outgunned now? You should run. Because that's a pretty big improvement if they know that. Because they're turning right around. No, he's weaving back in. I don't know. All right, let's get out of here. They're definitely out of range still, but we shot down the enemy float plane, so that's good news. All right, Death Star, keep advancing west. We're going to have to wait an hour, but that's plenty of time to close the range. The enemy destroyers are charging in on us. I guess I'll use my dive bombers against the destroyers, although I have a hunch we're going to be in so close now because of the way the game handles spawning the ships in. I know there's a button to turn radar on for all units, but I don't think I trust it yet. I had some bad experiences with that. I just don't trust it. Also, circle formation's probably not the best for ship engagements, although maybe against enemy destroyers where you don't want to let them get a free spread. All right, let's pause. So I think we may still be inside the 1 hour cooldown for the enemy battleships, which may just kind of be invisible. What's the range on this? It's a little bit long. That's okay. Who needs the battleships when you've got Dauntless dive bombers who can come in? Go get them, boys. Game audio is not muted. Can you hear it a little bit better now, guys? Let me know if the game audio is too loud for my own voice. It shouldn't be. Oh, I figure. Okay, one sec, guys. Sorry. Okay, that should be fixed. You guys hear it now? All right, cool. So here the boys go. They're already diving in. There you go. Got some good hits. That first attack. By the way, the stream quality should, I'm hoping it should look considerably... Oh, they just fired torpedoes at us. Shit, did you see that huge spread of fish? All right, boys. Turn the task force. All right, gameplay. Let me know if the gameplay is okay now. We're getting shot at by these enemy destroyers, which I just obliterated with one dive bomber formation anyway. Did I not hit this other one? Well, fuck. There you go, boys. Open fire. I want to exit out of this battle before the torpedoes get close. So the enemy fired a spread of fish. You can see them all the way out here, but I'm hoping the range is too far for it to really matter. I'm telling the whole task force to open up. I didn't tell it to take that sharp a turn, I didn't think, but everybody's turning real sharp. Meanwhile, they're doing some damage to our destroyer. We are taking some hits here. This guy is a goner, I think. This guy who got hit by the dive bombers. The guns are still training, but I can't imagine it'll be around for long. The Ashio, meanwhile, she still looks good. Her torpedo mounts are also pointed toward us, which could mean she's about to lose a spread. We turned our entire formation, and so I'm hoping the first enemy spread of fish miss us, although maybe we're not turning fast enough. They actually look like they've got a pretty good angle on us. We'll have to see how that plays out. A little worried about this. It's a little bit too early to take evasive maneuvers. You can see us just plastering the one remaining destroyer, though. They just loosed another spread of torpedoes, by the way. But you can see she won't survive long. Just look at all those shells incoming. All right, where are those fish? All right, this destroyer should get out ahead of them. But the rest of the task force, which is following, maybe not so much. How about you spin up your... I mean, I've still got to move it in formation. I can tell them to... All right, this destroyer will be fine. But the battleship... Well, the battleship I'm going to tell to turn the other way. This entire side of the formation, I'm going to have them reverse their course. Alright, so moving that battleship was the right call. Apparently the first enemy ship is not sunk yet. We sank the second destroyer, but the first one, who was badly damaged by dive bombers, is not dead yet. So we'll go ahead and open back up on him. Our own formation's a bit of a mess, but I think these guys all avoided the torpedoes. Oh shit, we got a hit on the Wichita. The rear of the ship, probably beyond the torpedo. Fuck! She loses 56% of her speed, 80% of her turning abilities. Hit well beyond any torpedo protection. Slifix, thanks for the follow. Alright, another enemy spread over this direction. Fulham was struck by a torpedo? God damn it. A midships on a destroyer, heavy damage. Turn into it, boys. Swing your stern and miss it. I think this one's safe. God damn it! Fuck! Torpedo was closer than I thought. Did the enemy sink yet? Just die, you asshole. Alright, she's sinking. Let's get out of here before the next salvo of fish come in. They were fired more northerly. Oh no! No! Washington. One hit. Looks like one of them went under the bow. Did it go into the torpedo bulge? Mostly. Most of the torpedo protection ate it up. Very minor damage, moderate damage, but you can see it's just mostly on these three compartments on that side. Very minimal damage to speed, no damage to turn, almost none to efficiency, moderate flooding. Wichita was hit by a bomb. From who? From who, sir? Dive bombers? Oh my god! So Wichita took 3 bomb hits. She's gonna sink probably. Critical damage. She took torpedoes in the stern and then 3 bomb hits. Also, the North Carolina was struck by a torpedo. Minor damage to her. Part of the problem is I told my ships to turn and never told them to level out, so they just kind of did donuts. What's going on? My god. Yeah, I've not seen that before. I didn't even know there were dive bombers around. All right, can we get out of here yet? All right, you should be good. Why? So the enemy ships are all sunk. Our ship, the Wichita, got hit by 3 dive bombers. We're probably better off trying. I don't know that we're going to be able to save her. She is dead in the water. Critical damage, heavy flooding, heavy list. So we had, what, 2 destroyers hit by torpedoes, a heavy cruiser probably sunk. Not a great day for the U.S. Navy. Well, I think they're trying to prevent additional damage from occurring. The flooding, is the flooding more dangerous right now than the fires? I'd like to leave the battle, but I also don't know if that'll consign me to the ship being scuttled or not. It's very unlikely there's enemy subs, which, thank God. We've sunk, I think, all but 2 of their subs. So let's go ahead and see if our damage control crews can get a handle on this fire. Maybe get some of these compartments pumped out. Some of these engineering compartments haven't been totally made useless. But why are they only working on... There's only 1 damage control party as far as I can see working right now. Where are the other ones? Oh, they're working on fires top top side. So please, I want to get the flooding under control on these guys. All right, so the Taylor was able to get things down to moderate. Heavy damage, moderate flooding in the Fulham. It's like, why are they working on compartments that aren't even... I guess these are all zero integrity anyway, so there's nothing they can do about that. All they can do is try and put the fires out. Wichita, meanwhile, working on fires. Just want to see if there's any way for us to get the damage out of critical zone. Yeah, Oak, I've not, you know, that was a much improved performance from the Japanese destroyers. Usually they don't respond that quick. And 8,000 yards is definitely inside the long lance range, but the AI in the past when I've played tend to be pretty passive with their use of torpedoes. And so I was not expecting them to be quite that aggressive, and I kind of assumed my turning of the formation would have gotten us out of harm's way, but it was a good spread, and my formation was slow to maneuver because it was a circle formation, which means not everybody turns and some of them kind of sit, and so it was a good spread. It was a little bit of complacency on my part too. 10K is point blank range for long lances in game lake, or in real life lake, but the AI historically, I've played this for 60 hours, almost never fires at that range. So I would caution you on basing anything off of real life versus in game. That is 100% true, Oaks. Line formation would be better for a surface engagement. All right, so let's just hopefully we get some of these compartments pumped out, and then we can drop the flooding from heavy. I know this isn't super exciting to watch, but you can see the situation on the Wichita is slowly getting under control. And so I'm hopeful that we can get these three guys out of this battle and back to port. North Carolina took a very small amount of damage, but I think she's in good enough shape to fight the Congo still. And I think the Washington is as well. Both of them took a torpedo, but I still would gamble them versus an enemy battleship. Hey, Neuhauser, you just missed a clusterfuck. 2 Japanese destroyers closed in, and because the one thing I will say is I'm not a big fan of the new, like, in the past I was annoyed that ships would not represent on the tactical map anywhere near where they were on the strategic map, but now it's like you've got to trigger the tactical battle and then you're starting at like point blank range. So anyway, just hoping that this damage can get marked down to high. Once it's marked down to high, I'll jump out of the battle. Well, Neuhauser, the AI fired a very effective 2 torpedo spread from 2 destroyers. We got a torpedo or 2 in the Wichita. The North Carolina and Washington both took a single torpedo. The destroyers Fulham and Taylor took a torpedo. Oh, and the Japanese surprised us with a dive bomber formation out of Bougainville that put 3 bombs into the Wichita. So that happened. That's a pretty good summary of clusterfuck, right? Okay, so getting those compartments under control. I think if we leave now, although the bridge is destroyed, which makes me worried we might scuttle, but let's go ahead and leave and see what happens. They didn't scuttle the Wichita. So Wichita, Taylor, and Fulham will evacuate. I think we'll leave North Carolina and Washington in to fight the Congo class. All right, but with that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here before we jump into the next battle, which will be a battle of battleships, I think, anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Return to War on the Sea, a new game out by Killerfish Games that allows you to fight through the South Pacific Guadalcanal campaign in real-time naval combat with a dynamic campaign. In today's episode, we did suffer some damage to Japanese long lance torpedo attacks, but overall, the War on the Sea is still going pretty well for us. Actually, very well for us. It's the war on the land that's not going as well. We'll see if we can turn that around in our next episode. Until our next episode, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye.